So seeing as this video is like a look back at the first film that we ever saw in cinema, I figured it would be a pretty cute idea if we showed images of Matthew and I as kids. So here's how Matthew looked. Aww. Adorable. Here's how I looked. Aww. I know, they're the two cutest individuals that you could ever meet. You just want to eat them both up, don't you? And then you look at us now. I'm sorry, Mum and Dad. Hello everyone and welcome back to the Movies and Milk 30-Day Film Challenge with myself and Michael McGorry, where today we are going to be discussing the first films that we ever saw in theatres. You could argue that these are the films that cemented and catapulted our interest in film and television. Regardless of how well these films have aged over the years, I guess you could say are very prominent and historical in both of our lives. Unfortunately for me, however, I do not remember this film at all, which is very depressing for me because I used to be a massive fan of the animated TV show before the film and after the film. And honestly, I don't think I've watched this film more than once. I'm of course talking about the Rugrats movie. The Rugrats movie was released in 1998, which means I would have been about 3 years old when the film was released. So there you are, that's it, that's your lot, that's me done for today. That was a nice easy one there. Your prayers for Matthew having less screen time have been graciously answered. So Michael, back into your very capable hands there. Fantastic. Just in time for the cheese.
Oh, some man that Bradley.
I'd be straight
Came
out
from
the
another
corner
cup
mine
up.
if that was my name. I'd have that changed straight away. Right.
Hello?
That's it. What do you mean that's it? You've not even been speaking for a minute. I mean, we're making a YouTube video here, son, not a fucking TikTok. You should have maybe done what they do in the industry and thought, oh, maybe I should plan ahead. Maybe I should actually watch the movie that I'm going to be discussing in today's video instead of just going at it willy-nilly. Just talk shite for 2 minutes. I mean, you're good at talking shite. I mean, me and your mother have always told you that you'd make a good politician with the amount of shite that you spew. I mean, you're a stupid bastard is what you are. What are you? That's right, a stupid bastard.
I remember that both my mother and I took a train to a small town in the west coast of Scotland known as Largs. In Largs there is a leisure centre called the Vikingar, which still stands in the same place today, and it used to have a little cinema complex. Nothing major, just a very, very small auditorium where you could watch films that were released a couple of months prior. Christ. And that one stunned me a wee bit. And I vaguely recall that my mother and I took the train to Largs that day, went to the Vikingar, and I believe that we did meet up with one of my cousins and one of my aunties. And honestly, all that I really remember is being in the auditorium. Actually, I remember the trailers much more than I remember the film. If I recall correctly, I remember that there was a trailer for Toy Story 2 which would be released the following year. And if there's anything that I remember from the film itself, I vaguely recall a scene that takes place in the woods with Tommy, Chucky, maybe Angelica and the wee baby, the main baby protagonist of the film. Cannot for the life of me remember its name. Something like Baby Gil, Baby Dylan or something. I cannot remember.
Do your fucking research then.
And I remember that the Rugrats were contemplating on changing this child's nappy, which was funny for me at the time because I was still in my nappies, and I remember thinking that would be funny if my cousin had to change my nappy in a forest. But other than that, I don't remember anything at all. Again, son, you're a stupid bastard, but thank you for passing the video over to me, because today I'm going to be discussing a film called Treasure Planet, a film that I have actually watched. Take notes, Matthew, son. So yes, Treasure Planet, it's a Disney animated film that came out back in 2003, so I would have been about 5 years old when I saw this film. And again, it's a Disney animated film. In fact, it's one of the few sci-fi films that Disney Animation has ever done, so of course
My 5-year-old mind was just blown away when I saw those images projected onto the big screen. And for years I absolutely adored this film, and I don't know if it was because I thought the film was actually good, or if it might just be because I have a soft spot because it was the first film that I saw in cinema. So when Disney Plus eventually arrived to the UK, I figured, well, let's give it a little watch, shall we? And I'm afraid to say that this film is not as good as I remember. It's in fact better. I don't know if it's maybe top 5 Disney animated films, but it is most certainly in the top 10. And being in the top 10, that's a good place to be. I mean, I only really have one major flaw with the film, and it's strange because it was one of the things that I remember absolutely adoring as a kid, and that is the character of B.E.N.
Whoa! Hello!
I absolutely adore Martin Short. I've seen him live. He's one of the funniest people out there. And I do understand that the character of B.E.N is a lonely, antisocial person who's literally lost his mind. But he is just annoying, and spoilers, when he does eventually get his mind back at the end of the film, the annoyance doesn't tone down at all. But besides that, Treasure Planet is absolutely excellent. If you're like me and you haven't watched it in years, or if you just haven't seen it at all, because this is one of the more underrated Disney films, then I would definitely recommend it. And the soundtrack is just absolutely glorious. This is one of the few Disney animated films in which I actually prefer the score over the songs. And if I remember correctly, there is only one song in the film that plays during a montage, and while that song is good, it just doesn't compete to the score. It's composed by James Newton Howard, and it just matches the setting very, very well. The film's setting is both futuristic and period-like, and as such, not only does the musical score have like classic orchestra music, but it's also got some electric guitars in there, and oh my, when those electric guitars kick in, I'm just like, oh, I'm in for it. I'm ready, Captain. The film is funny, it's action-packed, it's thrilling, so there was no reason why I wouldn't love this film as a kid, but during my most recent viewing, the film also surprised me with some of the more touching emotional moments that I don't remember being in the film. There's a couple of one-to-ones between Jim and Silver throughout the entire film, and those scenes got to me. I will admit, I did cry. So please, if you do have a Disney Plus subscription, check out Treasure Planet. I will guarantee that you will have a good time. And unlike Matthew, I actually have rewatched the Rugrats movie in the past year. It's fine. It's fine. To be honest, Matthew's not missing out on much, but just be better with your planning next time, Matthew, eh? So that's the end of the video. We really hope you enjoyed. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Remember, we're trying to make it to 100 subscribers by the time we reach day 30. And also, if you remember, tell us in the comment section down below, what was the first film that you saw on the big screen? And does it hold up? Was it better, or was it worse than you remembered it being? And if you wish to take part in the 30-day movie challenge yourself, you can head over to the Movies and Milk Instagram page, where you can find the 30-day movie challenge template. So until next time, stay safe, don't get up to anything stupid, and we will see you tomorrow, in which Matthew and I discuss the scariest films that we've ever seen. That may be the strangest laugh I've ever conjured.